Hello again, everybody, and this is the 2014 Aloha Clinic training video series, and this one's going to cover holding plays, and we're also going to discuss a number of mechanics responsibilities on this tape. So let's start out with play number 1, which was a holding call, a correct call, and I've got the guilty party highlighted here. We'll watch it at full speed, and you probably notice some turning, twisting, and a fall to the ground. And now we'll watch it in slow motion, and we'll see when it actually starts to become a hold, and I think right about there. You can see that the guy takes a little bit of an outside move. The tackle on that side grabs, turns, twists, and is pulling him to the ground right at the point of attack. You can see the runner circled in red. So we've got a pull down, take down hold right at the point of attack, and the runner advances off of that by at least another 7 yards. We've got an end zone view here. I had them highlighted. You can see the turn and the twist. One more time, and then we'll start breaking down the mechanics. Let's start back with a sideline view. I've got the 4 receivers that we count for balancing of formation with yellow arrows. So this is a balanced formation, 2 and 2. The center has the red arrow on him, showing that this is an unbalanced line with more people up top than there are down below. So knowing that we have a balanced formation, we're going to have the line judge on our side take the widest receiver. The back judge takes the line judge's side in a balanced formation. The head linesman has the 2 at the top, and the referee, who is on the right side of the offensive formation, is going to look across the field, coincidentally in this formation, at the strength of the formation, picking up the 2 outside line of scrimmage blockers. Now, as the play starts, you can see the line judge's key goes in motion, and at the time of the snap, he is stopped just outside where the guard is positioned in this unbalanced line. So we're going to come off of that person and switch our keys. And when we switch our keys, the back judge should be doing the exact same thing so that he's moving over to the new strength side. And the head linesman also has to recognize that so that they can put more focus on the other responsibilities as the formation changes. It doesn't take very long for this play to declare, and what I mean is start to become visible as to what's happening. So when this guy misses the first back on the handoff or the fake, it's coming to the second back or the quarterback's going to roll out. So the referee is going to start shifting his focus into where the point of attack is being created. The line judge is still locked on that end player because he's got nobody else. The back judge is picking up the other side of the outside of the line of scrimmage, and the head linesman is starting a little bit to come off of his receiver and to read the play. Take it just a little bit further, and the referee and the line judge are right on that point of attack spot. They should probably both have the holding call for this foul right here about the 43-yard line. Now the umpire, who's been picking up the middle action the whole time, is going to maintain that position. The wings are going to move downfield looking for forward progress and any action in or around the runner and the ball. And the back judge now is going to start picking up fringe activity because the runner now has been contacted. Looks like he's going to go back down. So we're all going to start fading out a little bit and getting into our approaching a dead ball type of mechanic. And then further on after that, work our dead ball mechanics. Play number 2, another holding penalty. This is actually 2 holds on the same play. The center and the left guard both independently do takedown holds. Also, penalty enforcement's important on this because under the all but one on a running play, the penalty's enforced from the end of the run. And the quarterback slips and falls down at the 13 on this play. So after the holding enforcement, when we go from the 13 to the 23, this is a net 19-yard penalty on a holding play that happened starting at the 4 and the hold occurred at the 10. So one of the inequities of the National Federation all but one enforcement, hopefully we start to look at that a little bit later, but that would be the correct enforcement under the National Federation rules. That is how they enforced it, so they did a nice job both calling the penalties and enforcing it from the end of the run.
Holding.
Yeah, the option.
Yeah,
go ahead.
10-yard penalty.
All the way back to the 28-yard line.
Yeah, the
First
option
down.
here would have
We have
been
an untimed
Pac-5
down.
declined the penalty, take
Holding play number 3 is a little bit more difficult to pick up because it's a stunt from the outside to the inside. But we're going to break this down mechanically a little later and figure out how we can do that. So keep an eye on the person. They've got the arrow at the snap. You can see that it's a stunt to the inside, grabs, turns, twists, and appears to pull him down in that view. As we watch from the end zone view, number 65, and keep an eye on the formation too, see how the rush is coming. Grabs him, turns him, twists him, and that is the passing lane. So what he's doing is he's taking this guy down, not only to prevent him from getting to the quarterback, but it opens up the passing lane. So there's a good call for hold. Now, let's take a look at this from a mechanic standpoint. It's a balanced formation. We've got 2 up top, 2 down below. So the back judge is going to come to the line judge's side. Head linesman's going to have 2 up top. The referee is going to take the tackle opposite of where he's standing in the mechanic we use in Hawaii. So the umpire is going to have to focus from his view the left side of the defense. Now these plays, they happen so fast. You can see it's only within a second or two of the snap that this entire action is taking place. So that really emphasizes the importance of reading our pre-snap keys, understanding the situation and where we should be focusing. Now the referee prior to the snap is focusing on 63, highlighted in yellow. The center doesn't have anyone other on top of him, but 62 does. So that's a 2-on-1. So the natural transition for an umpire would be to pick up the 2 one-on-one guys on the other side of the formation, and that's where this act occurs. So when we have a formation that presents itself and you know where the referee is and you know where the 2-on-1 is, maybe position yourself a little bit more toward that side of the field that you're going to have to make rulings on, because that's where it happens. At this point in the play, the referee may be coming off of his initial key a little bit, but he's not doing anything, and probably to pick up these guys coming in. But had the umpire moved over a little bit and focused on those 2 one-on-one players based on how the formation presented itself, probably would have picked that up. Play number 4. This is kind of a difficult one to get for the umpire. So let's start by looking at who gets held, and it's the defender who's circled here. And it starts out as a double team, which makes it a little bit more complicated. On top of that, we've got a left-handed quarterback, so the referee is on the other side of the formation visually. It doesn't look like a lot from this sideline view, which is why you always want to get an end zone view if you're talking about holdings that may be hard to detect from the other view. So here they are, highlighted, and you'll see that the center starts as a double, comes off, and then the runner who runs right by this person being held by 64 is able to do so because he's jerked back in the process of trying to dive and reach for him, allowing that runner to spring free. So mechanically, let's look at this from the sideline. We've got trips on the near side. You can't see the line judge's key. So the back judge is going to pick up the inside 2 on the bottom. The head linesman gets the wide receiver on the top. The referee, like I said, this is a left-handed quarterback. He's going to be looking through at the opposite tackle. And the umpire is going to be responsible for the 3 right defenders unless there's a stunt in this formation. Now, this is a little bit of a draw play, so the referee will be the first to recognize that this is a run and should be the first to transition to the forward block. So in my opinion, the referee has a really good shot at picking up this hold. The line of scrimmage head linesman, he's probably going to pick up the forward approaching block. And the umpire, although he can transition to that first forward block, there is another contact interaction between another group over there. So he may get tied up in one or the other. Looking at it from the end zone view, you can see the referee comes across and the umpire has to pick up these other 3 defensive linemen. Now that's not easy to do, and the formation doesn't help because we're starting on that left hash mark, kind of forcing the umpire not to be able to move too much further to his right. And the linebacker position is not helping much either. So as this play gets going, you can see as a referee, you would know this is a run already, and you can transition. As an umpire, it's going to be a tough look even if you do transition to this guy right away because you're going to be a little bit straight lined and 53 is not helping you out. But the other block seems to be well in control. So referees, it looks like you've got the very best shot at getting this one. Hold number 5, you don't see any reverse takedowns in the middle of the field very often, so keep an eye on this slot receiver. He's going to go down, and there's a quick pass who runs right by him, and you see the reverse takedown. That's where a guy grabs him and pulls him over himself like he got bowled over but didn't. Here's our keys. We've got trips up top, so the back judge is going to get the middle 2. The highlighted player with the red arrow is going to be the person who does the pull and reverse takedown. And the back judge does call this foul. So it's a great job by the back judge staying with his key and knowing what he's doing. Just make sure we get that flag moved back, because at the time of the foul, this was already a running play and we need to enforce it from the spot of the foul. Holding play number 6 is an example of a referee doing a really nice job of transition. This would be the mechanics. We've got trips down below, so you can see who's looking at what initially. This is the party that was guilty of the holding on the play. So as this play goes, there are transitions to make, because the referee calling that penalty, that was not his initial key. And here's how it happened. When the referee recognized that the quarterback immediately handed the ball off and was able to determine the direction of the play, he immediately went in front of the runner and started picking up blocking groups, identified which one was the most likely to be troublesome, stayed with it, and was able to pick up the takedown and restrict where the point of attack was when the runner went by. So here's 79 from the end zone view, and we'll see it develop from this side, and you can see when that transition was made and how he was really the only person that could see this with all of the crowd of people there, and how this hold took place. It would have been very difficult for the umpire. But you can see that he does grip him, he restricts him, he's twisting him, and I'm going to stop frame it right here where you can see that he's at the point of attack and the hold has already occurred. When we talk about holding, a lot of times you will hear make there be a restriction or an impact or point of attack. Watch the running back that was highlighted here. He was called for holding, and I can't really see an impact or a point of attack for that matter, just more really a big pile of players than in a play that completely failed. And I don't really see this as the type of hold that we want to hold ourselves standard to. Play number 8, another type of the same thing. This is on the center. The nose guard was the person that the umpire felt was held, but he just blows right through this guy and makes a sack. So start to ask yourself, was there a material restriction? Was there an impact on the play? And is it the point of attack? And all of these things are immediately dissolved on these last 2 plays, and worth talking about in your associations and your groups to try to limit those types of calls. Play number 9 and 10 are overpowering blocks, and we have to be very careful when we have an overpowering block, because sometimes they disguise themselves and look like holds. But in this case, it was called a hold at approximately the 30-yard line and called back a touchdown. This was not a hold. We'll look at it from this view, not quite the end zone, but you can see a little bit of a grab on the jersey there, and the defender spun around and then spun around again. The reason why you see a little stretch on the jersey is because he has him here, but the runner faked him out. The defender thought the runner was cutting in, and he didn't. He turned that way on his own. And then when the blocker re-engages, he's so off balance and out of position, he just yanks the blocker to the ground. So this is not a hold, and that's why I'm in favor of announcing numbers, because then if we have somebody else on the crew or at least communicate numbers, we may be able to pick that flag back up. Holding play number 10 is another power over that was called holding. And here's the 2 people that are involved in it. Run it at full speed the first time. You can see they both go to the ground. There was no other potential holding in the area or around, and the umpire threw it for holding. I'm not exactly sure what the cause was, but even in slow motion, these guys come together. They're fighting a little bit for position, but this guy is just overpowering him. And then what kind of jumped out at me also was when we look at it again and we stop it, when we stop it here, the umpire still has not transitioned into those blocks. So when he saw the aftermath of that, He assumed that there was a hold when there was not, and we have to be careful not to let ourselves fall into traps like that. Play number 11 and the last one on the holding video is a defensive holding, and I've got the running back highlighted with the red arrow. And as he goes out on this design screen, the defender just goes out and reaches out and tackles him. Now this is behind the line of scrimmage, so we're not going to have a pass interference call, but we can have a defensive holding call. And because it was an incomplete pass, which is a loose ball play, it's a previous spot enforcement, and they're going to get the 10 yards and get to replay the down. He says, I want a flag. I agree. That's it for this holding video, guys. I hope that some of the enforcement discussion and mechanics discussion will help you this season.
I've got holding on 78 White.